Okay, so what exactly is the difference between Christianity and Islam?
It's quite an interesting comparison. Jesus never killed anybody. Muhammad killed an estimated 3,000 people, including cutting off the heads of 700 Jews in Medina. Jesus never owned slaves. Muhammad got a fifth of the slaves taken in battle. Jesus never married. Muhammad had anywhere from 11 to 22 wives. He had slave wives and concubines. Jesus never forced anybody to believe in him. One time he said something difficult, and many disciples walked with him no more. But Muhammad said, whoever changes his Islamic religion, kill him. Jesus never tortured anybody. Muhammad, when he conquered the Jewish fortified oasis of Khaybar, the Jewish chief surrendered but wouldn't tell where the tribe's treasure was hidden. So Muhammad had him stretched out on the ground, and they kindled a fire on his chest. He still wouldn't tell, so Muhammad had him beheaded. Jesus forgave insults, dying on the cross, saying, Father, forgive him. Muhammad, when he finally conquered Mecca in 630 AD, he goes into the city and orders several people to be murdered. 3 of the people were Ibn Khattal and his 2 slave girls. Ibn Khattal had made up poems making fun of Muhammad, and the 2 slave girls recited the poem, so Muhammad was insulted, so he ordered them murdered. So Jesus taught that God was our Father. In Islam, it's blasphemy to call Allah your Father. In Christianity, we're all children of God. In Islam, it's blasphemy to call yourself a child of God because Allah took no wife and has no son. In Christianity, we're made in the image of God. Genesis, in the image of God, he created the male and female. In Islam, Muhammad said, Allah has no image. In Christianity, we're taught to have a personal relationship with God. Go into the closet and pray, you and him. In Islam, it's blasphemy to even want to have a personal relationship with Allah because he's transcendent and unknowable. None of the apostles were governors or generals. Every one of the caliphs was a governor or a general. In Christianity, they're singing. The Old Testament, David at the temple, Jesus sang on his way out to the garden, on the night he was betrayed. But in Islam, Muhammad never sang. There's not there's no instruments, there's no musical instruments in Islam. The first 3 centuries of Christianity, there were 10 major persecutions. Christians were thrown to the lions. They never once led an armed resistance. The first 300 years of Islam, they conquered Arabia. They conquered Egypt, which used to be Coptic Christian. They conquered North Africa. There used to be 250 Catholic dioceses along North Africa. They conquered Spain. They crossed the Pyrenees Mountains. They came within 170 miles of Paris before they were stopped at the Battle of Tours by Charles Martel, the grandfather of Charlemagne. Then they conquered Central Africa and eventually enslaved over 180 million Africans. Matter of fact, there's only one word in Arabic for African and slave. It's abid, A-B-D. It means level with the earth. And so they did sell about 10% of them to those terrible European slave traders that brought them to the New World. But every slave brought to America was purchased at a Muslim slave market. But they sold 80% of them throughout the Ottoman Empire. Then the Muslims conquered the Holy Land. In 638 AD, Caliph Umar conquered Jerusalem. It used to be a Byzantine Christian city. And then the Mongolian Turks converted to Islam, and they conquered the Byzantine Empire. Now today that's Turkey, but back then this is where John spoke and Paul spoke in Ephesus and Colossae, Colossae and Antioch, and all 7 churches mentioned in the book of Revelation. And as the Muslims invaded, these Byzantine Christians had to humble themselves and beg the Roman Catholic West for help, which was a big deal because the Byzantines saw themselves as the true Christians. I mean, they spoke Greek, the language of the New Testament, right? And they viewed the Latin West as the church split. But they begged the West sends help. It's called the what? The Crusades. 9 major crusades in 200 years. Richard the Lionheart led the 3rd crusade. St. Louis, Missouri, the city I'm from, he led the 7th and 8th crusades. But when the crusades fizzled, the Muslims finally conquered Constantinople in the year 1453. And once Constantinople fell, it cut off the land trade routes to India and China. That's when Columbus set sail. So I didn't mean to give the long explanation, but
it was a good explanation.
But it's this idea that, again, it's a religious system, a political system, and a military system. And we have a track record. It's like I'm going to pitch a stock investment and I say it's really good. You'll look at the track record, see is it going up or down. If I'm going to pitch a religion, say it's real peaceful. Well, you look at the track record. We just happen to have a 1,400-year track record to see that a whole lot of Christian areas of the world were taken over and they're no longer Christian. And so we have to, realize that if we want to preserve this country, bow whatever direction you want as your religion, but when you want to start instituting political laws and you threaten militarily, then you needed to be treated as a political military system, no different than other political military systems that have a global conquest agenda, and once they take over, non-adherents were not equal.